Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the live conversation on Allatra TV. These live conversations are being conducted with the framework of the Creative Society project, which is launched on the platform of Allatra International Public Movement. The goal of the project is to achieve creative society by peaceful means, such kind of society where each person in the world will live happy and live in comfort and have everything necessary for living stable, and secure society where each person is confident in his future. You may find more information on our official website about the Project Creative Society on allatraunites.com.
And in order to inform people of possibility to live in a creative society, we use a rule of 6 handshakes. We invite guests to our program, they invite their guests, friends and acquaintances, and this creative initiative goes on. And in the end of the program, we're going to ask our guest to share a name of one person whom she would like to invite to such kind of live broadcast. And today with us is Dr. Shauli Mukherjee. She is the Director of School of Education and Dawn Student Affairs at Adamas University. Also, she is thought leader and motivational speaker. Welcome. Could you please share with us a little bit more about yourself?
Thank you so much, and wishing you all a very good day to both Ala and Irina and all the viewers. So, wishing you a very good day, and at the same time, wishing you all a very happy new year full of new hopes, new dreams, and new possibilities. Uh, I am Dr. Shauli Mukherjee. So, I have almost 25 years of experience in the education sector, working in various senior capacities. And in West Bengal itself, I have set up three international schools of repute. And among that, two schools have been entirely set up by me as the founder principal of those schools. And one school among three schools had been the first STEM school in West Bengal, which had also been awarded for the second best international day school in West Bengal. Uh, so I have worked extensively into the field of education, school education, especially, and leadership, teacher training, and empowerment. Currently, I am the director and dean of a very premier university in Eastern India, where I'm working as the director of School of Education and dean of student affairs. Additionally, I'm also the executive director curriculum for Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research, and currently the chair of the education board for Hope Ambassadors and Childcare Organization. Uh, Along with that, I am also in the senior advisory panel for a number of educational organizations across India.
Wow, Dr. Shauli, you're such a remarkable woman, and I'm adored this passion about education. And I'd like to ask you that question. Could you please share with us what inspired you, what your personal inspirations, what drives you in what you are doing?
Anna, I feel that right from within, when you have an urge to do something different, when you want to do something which you feel that it would create a kind of a difference in the lives of people around you, when you have that kind of passion and you have that motivation and zeal to go ahead with that, no one and nothing can stop you from doing that. So I am a passionate educationist because I have always wanted to work in the field of education. So there had never been a compulsion that I have to do it, but it has always been a matter of passion for me. So I always wanted to, serve in the education field because I believe that education is something which touches the lives of people around us in a permanent way. And if you want to make a genuine and deep lasting impact on someone's life, what better way than education? So, this has always been the inspiring and the driving force behind everything that I have done. And Right now, also, I feel in the present context that there is an urgent and pressing need for reimagining, reframing, and redefining education and learning in the 21st century and beyond. Because, what worked in the traditional days for education will not be working currently for our students. It's not going to serve them well because they need a completely different kind of an educational system which will be more open, more creative, more innovative. So that is how I think education, and I have always felt that there is not a need for reformation in educational system. There is a need for revolution in the educational system. So nothing short of a revolution will work. So this is something which I have always believed, and in my own ways I have always tried to impact the system, so that it creates a lasting impact in the minds of our young learners.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much. We will definitely talk later about the revolution in education. And right now, you really nicely said that if you want to make impact in someone else's life, education is just a great way to do that. And thanks to this, the question arises: how do you think? What qualities should a teacher have?
I think, and I would like to answer this question, especially in the context of a 21st century educator. So I think a 21st century educator or a teacher, first of all, should be a facilitator. So, if the earlier concept or the traditional or the earlier concept of education being only as a kind of a content which was transacted or which was transferred from the teacher to the student, that scheme or that system is not going to work anymore. So this is not a kind of a system wherein only content will be delivered or content will be transmitted from the teacher to the student. So that kind of system will not be serving our students anymore. So right now, I think the teachers should be facilitators. They will be facilitators. They will be the main force of inspiration, and they will give that stimulation and they will give that provocation to the young learners to learn at their own pace and be a lifelong learner, because 21st century learners, they have to be a lifelong learner. They have to continuously learn, and they have to, if need comes, they have to unlearn and they have to relearn as well. So I think teachers play a very, very important role here, and especially in this present context. Teachers who are adaptable and flexible to embrace the changes which are happening around us. These are the teachers who will be thriving in days to come. This flexibility and this adaptability to change, the passion to remain a lifelong learner along with the student. So, whether you are a teacher, whether you're an educator, or you are whatever, but you have to be a lifelong learner. So, you have to be a self motivated learner also. You have to continuously experiment with new ideas, because the one size fits all and the industrial or factory model of education will not be working anymore. So it must give way to a more creative, more personalized, and I think more innovative form of education system. And so the educators have to be extremely proactive. They have to upskill themselves, and they have to collaborate as well, because collaboration is the key. Because you may have great ideas, you may have great visions and goals, but you cannot operate in a silo. You have to be along with a like-minded people, and you have to form a cohort, and you have to work in a very designed and systematic manner. So collaboration is also the key. And as it is also said, that as teachers, the greatest resources that a teacher can have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspectives, so we cannot allow that to happen. So we want our knowledge, our wisdom, our experience to be shared among everybody, so that a society which is full of new ideas, new visions, new creativity can be formed. So teachers will play a massive and a very significant and a very critical role in nurturing those young talents.
Oh, it sounds absolutely fantastic. And yes, you're right. The relationship between children and teachers, between students and teachers, have to be basically changed. We all have to realize that, and teachers have to be like drive this inspiration in children today, in the young learners as well. And I like when you say collaboration, flexibility, and passion for learn and passion for teach. It's as well. It's quite nice, and it's beautiful qualities of teachers. And let's hope for future it will be all of them like that. I'd like to ask you that question: how to motivate young children to learn? What kind of techniques could help them?
Anna, I think, as you know, all I have never seen a child who is not enthusiastic and who is not excited to learn new things. So children are, inherently they're born inherently creative and innately curious and inquisitive. You will see that children will always have multiple questions about everything and anything around them. So they have that spirit of, questioning and, you know, uh, inquiring about almost everything that is happening around them. So the world is sort of, a wonderful and an amazing place for them. So they're natural learners, first of all. And secondly, they are natural imitators. So no matter how much I think education should it should not indoctrinate. It should facilitate, and it should make way for the children so that they can learn at their own pace, and they can do that happily, and they can do that passionately. So, when a particular child is actively engaged in the learning process, they will automatically, be interested in whatever they are doing. So, even as all the recent policies state that rote learning has to give way to more creative and more application oriented learning. So there has to be skill based education, there has to be competence based education. So I feel when a child can relate whatever the child is learning in the school within the four classrooms to the real life context, I think learning acquires a different kind of a dimension. Because this cannot continue that a child is being learning a content which is outdated, 10 years or 20 years back, something which we have learned. And a child at this point of time, you cannot give the same content to that particular child to learn. So the context will be different, our histories are changing, our geographies are changing, and so is the critical need for our education system also to change. So it has to be more stimulating, more interesting, more vibrant, so that the students and the learners, they can learn at their own pace. And we also have to understand one thing, that it is not a kind of a race to find out which child learns quickly to read, write, or to count. It is not a kind of a race. All children are natural learners, but the only thing is that we have to remember that they do not learn in the same way or at the same day. So they learn at their own pace. So we have to, you know, be open enough, and we have to be flexible enough to give them that space and that pace in which they can learn, happily.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's amazing. They'll have to learn and find the new ways to teach them. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for your valuable experience. And this is so important. And we definitely going to ask you more about the education and creative society. But for now, we would like to ask you main question about how do you envision creative society, such a society where each person in the world lives happy and lives comfortably in all spheres of life?
Um, as Pablo Picasso had said, that every child is born an artist, but the challenge is to remain an artist when the child grows up. So, as I told you earlier, also, that every child is innately creative and inherently curious and inquisitive. So it is our responsibility as educators, as parents, and as members of a responsible community or society to nurture that inherent creative potential in each and every child, so that he can develop as a whole person. That is our primary responsibility. We must also remember that there are three things: play, passion, and purpose. These are the three things which makes someone creative. I repeat, it is play, passion, and purpose. These are the three things which make a person really creative. So I think we have to introspect, and we have to reflect and ask this question, that if our current education system or if our society does not encourage any one of these ingredients, then I think it's a deterrent to creativity. So play, passion, and purpose, these three things are very, very important. And when I say, because you see, the world does not care how much you know. The world cares about what you do with what you know. And for that, it is very, very critical to realize that why we are doing what we are doing. And when I say the word why, that is very important because that is the purpose. There is a wonderful Japanese concept called ikigai, which means the reason for being or the purpose for being. So uh, there is an island in Japan called Okinawa, where it has been found out that the world's largest population of centenarians live there. So when people became amazed that, why people are living till 100 years of age there, it rarely happens in the other parts of the world. So it was found out that there the people live with a kind of a purpose. They have a kind of a very strong purpose for existence, which has been named as ikigai. And then thereby, you must be knowing that Hector Garcia had written a book on ikigai, and the concept of ikigai has become so very popular. So this is actually very simple. Ikigai is at the intersection between what you love doing and what you are good at. So the day these two come together, that is, you are doing something which you are good at and which you also love doing. The day these two forces come together, you get the purpose of your life. And at that point of time, that particular day, that particular moment, you don't have to do anything additional in order to, motivate yourself or motivate people regarding the why or the greater purpose of your life. People automatically get pulled onto your vision because that is so very strong. So I feel that a creative society is that kind of a society where, for each and every people, for each and every human being, their creative potential will be harnessed to the utmost level, and their creative energies will be unleashed in a wonderful and beautiful manner. Because only when your creativity is unleashed, that is when you become truly productive, that is when you become truly happy. So if you want to raise a generation of happy individuals, you must give utmost importance to your creative energy that is inherent in you. And if we can do that for everybody around us, the society will be beautiful society, and it will be a creative society. That is my vision, and that is my viewpoints of a creative society.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful vision. You're absolutely right. You can do it together, and we have to start it now and just basically take responsibilities for everything and do what we love and have passion about and create a better world we all deserve because humanity deserves this beautiful, kind, like, just peaceful world. And thank you so much for that, such amazing vision of yours, create society. And Dr. Shauli, we know you have rich background of education, and you mentioned today earlier already about what educational system need a revolution. And I'd like to ask you that question. How do you envision education in creative society? What should be improved? And how to create effective and engaging learning conditions and environments?
Now, I think that something which is of critical importance and is the need for the hour. I think our current educational system gives a lot of importance and weightage to only one kind of quotient, and that is intelligence quotient. So we give a lot of, weightage and priority to IQ. But don't you think that it is equally, if not more important, to give equal importance and validity to the other kinds of quotients? And I'm talking about emotional quotient, EQ. So, how would a child uh, be comfortable in expressing his or her emotions? How will he be able to handle his emotions? What will be his kind of a relationship with others? So, that is what emotional quotient is all about. Equally important, I think, are the other quotients, the happiness quotient, the HQ. That is also very important because you cannot continue doing something in your life which you are not happy about. So when you are happy about doing something, that particular work that you are doing gets an altogether different dimension. So the happiness quotient is also very important. Next, I would also like to mention about the PQ, and that is the passion quotient. So if you're not passionate about anything, there is no point of you doing that particular thing. Because a lot of people are doing a lot of things. But unless you are passionate, unless you are convinced, unless you are committed, you do that particular thing with a lot of conviction and you're sincerely passionate about doing it, that doesn't matter because passion is something which drives us to do something which is great and which will have a kind of a lasting impact on people around us. So PQ is equally important. SQ, and where SQ stands for two kinds of quotient. It can be spiritual quotient, it also can be the social quotient. So, whatever we may be saying, at the core, we are all social animals. We're all social beings with a desire, with an innate desire to connect, to bond, with people around us. So that is some kind of a natural urge that we all have. So we are social human beings, social beings. So developing that socialization abilities and that skills and that social quotient is also equally important. Next is the spiritual quotient. Well, I'm not explicitly stating about our relationship with our creator or our relationship with, God in that sense of the term, if I'm not being very explicit. But definitely, spiritual quotient will entail, trying to evolve into the very highest, the very truest, and the very best versions of yourselves. So, equally, we must also try doing the same thing with others. We also have to help others to evolve into the very best version of themselves. And last but not the least, especially during the present pandemic context, which has hit the entire world, developing that AQ, and that is adversity quotient in children, it's of equal importance because adversity quotient is something, which will determine whether a particular person, be it a child or a grown up or an adolescent, that particular being is able to handle the vagaries of life, whether he's able to handle the uncertainties of life. You know, Today there is a pandemic. In days to come, there may be a very big natural calamity. So how are we going to cope with that? How are we going to face and cope with the uncertainties of life? Because you cannot predict life. Life is not predictable, it's unpredictable, right? So how are we going to handle the uncertainties of life? So developing that adversity quotient in our children. So I think the present education system uh, may continue giving importance to IQ, but equally and more importantly, they must also give equal importance and priority to the other kinds of quotients: EQ, PQ, HQ, SQ, and AQ.
Thank you very much. That's beautiful. Thank you.
That is just great to hear your opinion on education. And we would like to turn back to the topic of creative society and talk about 8 foundations of creative society. The Creative Society project itself was born as a need of people for change, where we want to build such kind of society where we will provide future without wars, conflict, violence, and hunger, and bring modern society to a new level of unity and peaceful development. And on Allatraunites.com was published an article with 8 foundations of creative society. Right now you see them on the screen. This is what people want and need, and we've conducted thousands of interviews with people all over the world where they described such a world where they want to live, and all people want to live in love, peaceful, and unity, and it is up to us to build such a world. We would like to talk with you touch upon the topic of several of these foundations. We know that you've read them and several of them resonated with you. And we would like to start from the first foundation, human life. Allatra will read it out loud for us.
Thank you. Yes, the human life is the first foundations of creative society. Human life is the highest value. Life of any human has to be protected as one's own. The goal of society is ensure and guarantee the value of each human's life. There is not and never can be anything more valuable than a human life. If one human life is valuable, so all humans' life is valuable. So that is the first foundation of creative society. What do you think about this one? Does it resonate with your moral view?
Yeah. So I sort of resonate with it in a deeper way because, as a person, I have always believed in the value and sanctity of human life. And, what I deeply feel is that uh, if you think about it, even in the present context, that the very fact that we still exist on the face of this planet, it means that we matter. Otherwise, we wouldn't have existed. So the very fact that we exist is a testimony to the fact that we matter. And we matter in a very, very significant and poignant manner. We exist in order to contribute, in order to serve for the benefit of greater humanity. So, in the words of the great Dalai Lama, he said that human life is the greatest and the most precious gift that one can have. So, your life or the human life is a gift in itself. I mean, nothing else can be said about it. It's a gift in itself, and it's the most precious gift. And the day we ultimately realize the value of this wonderful gift that we are all gifted with, we will stop taking it lightly, and we'll start taking it very seriously and start taking care of it like one of the most precious possessions that we are having. I would also like to say that, I would like to relate it to the present context again, to the present context of, this pandemic. So this pandemic, I think, has, enabled a lot of, people to ask those difficult yet pertinent questions about the very fact of existence of human life. It has given us that necessary pause, that opportunity for all of us to reflect and introspect and ask those vital questions. And when I say the vital questions, what I mean is that, the two most vital questions for me is, who am I and what is my purpose? So if I have to answer this question, that who am I, for me the answer is, I am a spiritual being who is having a human experience. So, a spiritual being having a human experience, somebody who is connected with the authentic core of his or her own self. So, if we all start feeling in this manner that we are all connected to the inner being or the inner soul uh, that lies within us, I think life will be an altogether different kind of an experience. And the purpose of all our existence is only to evolve into the highest, the best, and the truest version of ourselves. This is what I believe strongly in this. And I would also like to say that, right from the time of Charles Darwin and his dictum that survival of the fittest, our brain has been hardwired into thinking that competition is an essential key for survival. I mean, we have to compete with each other in order to survive. But there has been a lot of literature, there has been a lot of research, which suggests that collaboration and cooperation is the key for all of us to thrive. If you have to thrive, you can exist by competing. But if you have to thrive, then competition is not the key. Collaboration and cooperation is the key. So, the sanctity and value of human life is of utmost importance and is one of the strongest foundation on which a prospective creative society can be built up.
Thank you so much. Yes, human life is the core of creative society. It's very important for us all understand and how much is actually its meaning of the human life. Because some people just underestimated the value of human life. And this is why we need to always remember it is most precious that we all have life as itself. Thank you so much, Dr. Shauli, for you.
And I completely agree with you that it is so important for each of us to understand the meaning of life. Why do we live here? If each of us would understand this, as you said, that we have this higher inside of us, and every one of us would reach out for them, we already would resolve automatically more than half of the problems which we have currently in our society. Everyone would treat each other with respect and love, and we would already live in a beautiful world. It is so important to understand who you are. And we would like to continue to discuss with you 8 foundations of creative society, and you shared with us that resonated with you 5th foundation, the creative ideology. We would like to read it out. Ideology should be aimed at popularizing the best human qualities and stopping everything that is directed against the human. The main priority is the priority of humanity, high spiritual and moral aspirations of a human, humanist, virtue, mutual respect, and strengthening of a friendship, creating conditions for the development and education of a human with a capital H, cultivating moral values in each person and society, prohibition of propaganda of violence, condemnation and denunciation of any form of division, aggression, and anti-humane manifestations. And you already explained half of this foundation. What you would like to add in regard to this?
Yeah, sure. Um, Definitely, creative ideology is one of the basic cornerstones of a creative society. But I would also like to say something about this that, you know, I think this is the time when we have to also redefine what creativity is all about. Creativity is often taken as synonymous of somebody having an artistic bent of mind. So somebody who's a very good artist, who is a very good painter, and somebody who has an artistic bent of mind is often termed as creative. But I think that is a very delimiting, uh, you know, way of defining creativity. That is not what creativity is only about. So, my definition of creativity is it has to be something which is original. So, there must be some originality. When you say that, something is very creative, this idea is very creative, or this person is very creative, it means two things. One is that this particular person has original ideas, this person has originality of visions. So, the originality is one cornerstone. And the second cornerstone is adding significant value. So, originality, combined with a sense of value. So that is what makes something or someone truly creative. So I think there is an urgent need for redefining and reframing the concept of creativity in this light. So that is what I believe in. And uh, when it comes to creative ideology, I feel that every human being is born with a unique blueprint. So you cannot uh, equate one person with the other. So even if you are having, uh, you know, 3 to 4 siblings in your home, you will see that your sibling thinks, feels, acts, behaves in a completely different manner than what you do. So even your sibling who has been born of the same parents, raised in similar circumstances, and exposed to almost the similar kinds of, you know, uh, kinds of conditions in the society, even the siblings act, behave, and feel in different manner. So no two human beings are the same, and nobody can be better than you in being you. You see, so this uniqueness, this quality of uniqueness, is something which we have to nurture, in the sense, even as educators or parents, we need to nurture this quality of uniqueness in our children. And we must respect this quality of uniqueness in other human beings also, because that is a kind of a specific gift, talent, whatever you may call it, with which we are born with. So we are not born to become multiple clones of each other. No, that is not what the world requires. If we have to survive in this VUCA world, and by VUCA I mean, V for volatile, U for uncertainty, C for complex, and A for ambiguous. So if we have to survive and exist in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, we cannot survive or exist as clones of each other. That's not what the world demands out of us. The world needs divergent thinkers, out of the box thinkers, people who will come together with their unique gifts, with their unique talents, with their unique creativities, with their unique originalities. And then we will be forming a kind of a creative society in the truest sense of the term, which will be able to address the global complexities in days to come. So that is my thought pattern regarding the creative ideology.
I would say we don't need this VUCA world at all. We need to build such a world where there won't be such complexes and uncertainty.
Yes, he also mentions that the new research was done, and we as humans can actually live and collaborate with each other and create this beautiful, harmonious society. But unfortunately, nowadays, a lot of people wait for government to make changes for better. So I'd like to ask is that what can every person do to contribute to a better society? What do you think?
I feel, Allah, that every person has something or the other to contribute. But then, our vision or our goal can be one. Our vision and goal can be one, but our gifts, our talents are all unique to each other, right? So, say when there is a cohort of 1 million people, their vision or their goal is only one. They all want to reach at a particular destination. So, their goal, destination, and vision is fixed. That is one. But then, this 1 million people, they are having that unique 1 million unique traits. So, when they're bringing those 1 million unique traits together in a collaborative fashion, I think they can address any sort of global complexity. So that is what I think, people should do and people should aim at. And there must be an open and safe climate where people can openly, and safely express their creative faculties, their creative energies in a very safe manner. So it is not only about me, that it is not only I need a kind of an open and safe platform to vent out my creative energies and unleash them to become a whole person, but I should also be helping others to do that. So only when I give that support, when I get that support, I will also be in a better position to give that support to the others. So only when we, give that support to each other, I respect my creativity, I respect your creativity. And you have your unique gifts, I have my unique gifts. And together, when we bring all of them together, it will be a cohort of so many unique potentialities and gifts with which our world will be a much better and happier place to live in.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And as we understand this need for change, we understand that we need to change society and the world we live in. How do you think we can spread information about creative society faster and to like more people?
I think, Irina, something that we are doing right now, even that is also a wonderful way of spreading uh, the information about creative society. See, we are all here on a platform and we are interacting with each other. And the more we interact on these areas, on these topics, and we, sort of exchange, meaningfully exchange our views and share with each other what, we think about formation of a creative society. The more we have these kind of platforms where people can come and openly discuss about these concepts, I think this word will definitely spread and more people will be inspired to come up and speak for themselves. So this is how this is a kind of, I think this is a kind of a chain reaction, you see. So you start at one point of time, but you never end at that point of time. So you continue doing that. And then there a beautiful chain is formed, and then everyone starts coming together for a common idea, for a common vision, and that is how they start believing in one cause. And I think that is definitely one thing. But even as a thought leader, I think that when you share a kind of a particular vision, you see, and when you share it among people, so there must be a thought leader will always have a very big purpose, a very big why around that particular vision. When he or she is able to do that automatically, you don't have to convince people. People will be, people will be pulled to your vision because that vision is so very strong. It is so very invigorating. It is so very stimulating. So you don't need to do anything about it. So the moment they get to see that, yes, this is something to which I can relate to, this is something which resonates with my viewpoints as well, they get pulled to your vision. You don't have to do anything extra. And that is what I think a thought leader, is supposed to do.
Thank you so much. Yes, we're doing this and sharing the stories and sharing opinions on how we envision the creative society, because time of change has come. We all understand that we are now need to do something with our world and create better conditions for future generations. And we have 3 stages and 8 foundations of achieving creative society. And we are right now on the first stage. And basically, currently, by conducting interviews, we implement the first stage of achieving creative society, the informational stage. The more people will find out about that, and faster it will be implemented. The simple logic. So, and I would like to ask you now, who you would like to name as one person and invite them in our next live broadcast, and why you choosing this person?
As a person belonging to the field of education, so I would like, you know, more people from the education sector to come in this particular platform and speak about creativity. Because for the very simple fact that I believe in the power of education. So it has got manifold power to change, to impact, and to make and create differences in the lives of people around us. So anybody from the education field, I would be very happy if I get to see in days to come that anybody from the field of education would come and share his or her visions and his or her ideas about formation of a creative society personally, I will be very benefited, and I will be very, I will be very happy.
Maybe you have some friends and acquaintances who you would like to invite and maybe participate together in such kind of a live broadcast, and you can be a host and asking the person the same questions we asked you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can definitely do that. It would be my pleasure. I have so many, friends and acquaintances working in the education sector. So I'm, in a very nice way, I'm connected with a lot of people in the education sector. So we can definitely do that in days to come. I would love to.
That will be wonderful. Thank you so much. And we are waiting to have you as well with us as co-host and just to see all these people and those friends of yours. It will be fantastic. Let's build this beautiful world all together, by united by one goal, same goal, as you said.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you shared with us today. It was really inspiring and interesting. And we would like to remind our viewers, to those who haven't yet acquainted with Creative Society project, please visit Allatraunites.com website, where you can find Join Us button. Click there and fill your contact information and tell us if you support Creative Society. And for those who just found out about Creative Society, I would like to remind that on December 20th, there was a huge global conference, United We Can, where we discussed how we can achieve this Creative Society, where we discussed the stages which we need to implement. And this is really easy. The only thing we need to do is to act. And we invite everyone to our next conference, which will take place on March 20 this year. And we would like to show now the short trailer of this conference. Thanks to everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Unprecedented event of present history. Initiative that comes from people around the world. Main project of humanity. People stopped being silent about urgent issues of our society. All cultures have an image of the ideal world people want to live in. A world that prophets talked about. The time has come when we can make it real. How will we use this chance? Let's meet March 20th, 2021, 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and 10 a.m. Eastern Time. International online event of global scale. Creative Society, what the prophets dreamed of. This is the day the world will unite to find out the truth, join the entire humanity, and spread the message.